Shrinking the house Saturday night. It's been a couple days, just taking a rest from it, you know. Thanks for all the gracious comments made by a few people, man. I mean, saying I'm the best there is on YouTube. Like that's high praise. It really is. But like I say, I'm different than a lot of these guys. And you can call me nuts, you can call me whatever you want, but the fact of the matter is, I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this long enough, and I don't need a plethora of single components being sent to me to run my channel. I just don't want to do it that way. And I'll continue to repeat that just for new people that may be watching. I'm not an audio reviewer. I talk about my experience with things that I have owned for many years. So we'll talk about the Spatial, the big reds behind me here. My favorite speakers of all time. And man, I've owned, I don't know. I can't even begin to list how many speakers I've owned due to the used market hobby. And just for over close to 3 decades. I know that number varies every time, but it's almost like you'd have to have a script that you read from to deliver videos if you're not coming from the heart. So I like to talk about components that have been tried and true in my room, and I prove that to you all by, it's behind me, right? The Spatials do so many things for me the way I want them to be in my room. So let's get the most important thing out of the way. There is 0 bass issues, okay? I'm sitting 6 feet away from dual 15-inch drivers. Okay, now, physics would tell you that there's no possible way that that's gonna work in a room that's only 8 feet wide by 9 feet high. But right here is where it starts to spread out. 20 feet that way, 20 feet. So that's behind the listening chair. So I'm here, right? Basically the little DIWs, they're just sitting there for decoration. Something special on the way for that. But, the Spatials. So you get lightning quick bass. I mean, just shockingly good. Shockingly good bass. Like, everyone that comes over just cannot believe the speed. You'd think it would be flabby or tubby, right? But that's not the case. And no matter where you put them, whether it's close to the wall boundaries, rear or side, the speakers remain composed, right? Should they be pulled out into the room? I've heard them at another much larger room, and the bass just wasn't the way I wanted it to be, but I'm sure they'll do that too. That's the beauty of the open baffle. So another thing that I look for in a speaker is how does it sound at low volume? Does it just disappear, like the weight has gone from the music and it's lean and polite? No, they shine at low volume, guys. Absolutely shine. Like, I would not hesitate for you to buy any of Clayton Shaw's designs. I'd be a little bit weary of the ones with the self-powered subwoofers, because the M3s are so well designed that you get a great amount of bass, and you get his tuning. It's just, I think when you have a subwoofer that you control on the speaker, it just doesn't feel, I don't know. I just don't think they were huge sellers, the M5, and you see these on the market quite often. You don't see that many Triode Masters, which are this one, or even there's the M4, which are smaller, which would be a great speaker. But another thing that's really spooky about them is the imaging, right? It is spooky. It's as good as any stand mount I've had in here. Except for the Grahams, those were scary at times. They were quite the speaker, but again, they just weren't my listening style. The Spatials are just something that basically, they sound good with anything you throw at them. They really, really do. I don't even consider them audiophile speakers. Audiophile, I put that relating to speakers that dissect the music. Like, they just like we dissect our equipment, like there's something wrong, I gotta change it. That's not my listening style. I just want a speaker that's, very easy to place in the room, and it does all those things really well. And of course, the aesthetics. I just absolutely love the look. I've done videos on it before. I can come up here, kind of see the finish, right, which I've done before. They're gorgeous. That's all I can say. See, you can see that textured finish there, right? What's that? It's just a little bit of yeah, these are mint. So, but you can see the texture. It's got a textured finish to it. Really inert. Very inert baffles. So it's a beautiful speaker, guys. It's got the WBT connectors in the back. So like I say, I always like to go back and do a video on these speakers every once in a while, because they've been with me so long and they're going to stay for forever. I'm never going to sell them. I have absolutely no reason to sell them. They're that good for me. And I've suggested a guy to buy a pair, and he did. And he said it's the greatest purchase he's ever made in hi-fi. Are there better speakers? Of course. But when does it fucking end? When does it end? When are you guys going to find your speaker that you can finally just settle down and enjoy the music, right? Just stop the gerbils from running around and dissecting your system. And we got to know how important the recordings are in our stereos and not blame our systems for that. So, yeah, it's just a little video about the Spatials. I mean, I suggested to anybody, unless their room is gigantic, you're probably going to need a sub to go along with them. But, anything, say, 12 by 12 deep, 8-foot ceilings, something like that, you're going to be good to go. Like, it's just, they are fantastic. I love them. I love everything about them, guys. So, that's one component that stood the test of time. And I'll be getting into more of those that I've owned for years in the rack here in videos, upcoming videos. So like I say, the system, I call it the reference systems, the tool shed here, where the demonstrations and any experiments will be done, is almost complete. They're on their way. And if those don't work, I'm going to throw the line magnetic out the window. It's sad because I already know the pairing is phenomenal with the line magnetic, but the Bel Canto is just as good, but it's covering all the sources as well. So it's a shocking piece. I mean, but that's it. It's components that have stood the test of time in the shrink's room. Like and subscribe, and if you feel so inclined to support my channel, you'll see a little $sign down there with a heart. That helps keep a fire lit under my ass and keep me going here. So there you go. Like, subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys.